Those jobs that we are talking about in this revolution that I'm describing are among the highest paying, the highest value, and the highest skilled jobs being created anywhere in the world. We want them right here in the state of Texas. We want them in Abilene. We want them in Big Sky country. We want to make sure that, talking about Mayor and Henry and those who are in our elementary school classrooms, that we are delivering the best possible public education that is taking place in this country. And though we aspire to that right now, if we want to be honest with ourselves, and I think honesty is the best first step to take if we're going to get to where we want to be, we've got to acknowledge that we're not there yet. In Texas, in the average fourth grade classroom, 7 out of 10 kids cannot read at grade level. 70% of Texas fourth graders cannot read at grade level. And so the folks in Austin may try to distract you about which boy or girl can use which restroom, or which girl can play which athletic sport, or if there is pornography in our libraries, or whether we're teaching CRT or something else. But most parents, and being one of those myself that I listen to, really want to make sure that our kids can read and write and do the basic arithmetic that will allow them to be competitive going forward. And so what if? And this is kind of a crazy notion, but those Texas teachers right now who give their all to each and every single student before them in that classroom, who not only teach them to the best of their ability despite these high pressure standardized tests that have forced so many teachers to try to teach to that test because perhaps their job and that kid's prospects of advancing to the next grade depend on it. And nonetheless, she's going to do everything in her power to convey everything else that is important. That teacher who, in addition, y además, is also paying for the Thanksgiving and Christmas decorations in the classroom, the extra notebooks and supplies that the kids who don't have the resources to buy them need to deliver to them, and that child who's on free and reduced breakfast and lunch, but does not have a warm meal to look forward to when they go home at the end of the day. That teacher in that classroom, though she is not paid enough, is very often buying that dinner for that child. That teacher in this state who is doing the most important form of public service in our communities that I can think of is on average paid $10,000 less than the average teacher in the United States of America. And listen, we are not an average people who aspire to average results, but just to get to average, we are $10,000 behind right now. And as a result, more than half of Texas school teachers are working a second or a third job to make ends meet. There's a guy named Ramon Benavides in El Paso, Texas, happens to be a friend, was just selected as Texas Teacher of the Year. I called him up to congratulate him, asked him about what I just described to you, and he said, oh yeah, Beto, I work a second job. This guy is the most highly celebrated, decorated teacher in Texas, and we don't pay him enough to just do that one job to unlock that lifelong love of learning in the head of that child, in front of him in that classroom. What if, in this crazy proposition of mine, we paid every Texas teacher what they're worth, so they work only one job and one job only? I can afford to do that.